Great everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're just joining for the first time, this is actually data decision. I'm going to show you how to create this particular dashboard I have on my screen. So we have two versions of the same report or the same dashboard, the dark version and the light version. So I'm going to show you how to create everything from the scratch. So you can actually navigate through this particular dashboard live on my Novi Pro account. I have it in the description box. But before we get started, let us look at what it is that you're about to get into. Alright everyone, now that I've just read this, it is time for me to look at the colors we're going to use for our dashboard. So here we have colors for the light version and we have the color for the dark version of the report or the dashboard. Then let us look at the light version, how the background is being created. So inside PowerPoint, we have actually created this and it looks very beautiful. Then we have another version for it, which is the dark version that looks just like this. So if you're interested in learning about this, just stay tuned. Let's actually create this together. Alright everyone, welcome back to this particular part of this dashboard. So if you have not subscribed before, it's the best time for you to do that, like and share. So leave a comment, let me know what you feel about my contents. So to get started over here, we have this chart that is showing the percentage of customer with our children that is actually buying from us. And below we have this particular one, which is the customer with children that is actually buying from us. So we want to actually see what is the top country that leads with customer with children and how much they've contributed to revenue and the percentage of the male and female in this particular country. So it sounds a little bit, confusing, right? No problem. But you just need to look at the screen and read, pause and read and see the advantage of you creating such a calculation and how it could actually help a business. So let's find out on how we can actually replicate the same thing we have right on my screen. So let us look at what are those things we need to put in place to actually have this kind of chart created. So the first thing is actually the total revenue we have generated for every single customers. Then the next one, we want to check for any customer that actually either have children or no children. Then we're going to look up that in the customer table. So let us quickly go to the customer table and take a look at the column we're going to deal with right now. So over here, I have my fact table. We don't need that. Let us go to the customer table. So in your customer table from the data you downloaded, you're going to see this particular total children right here. So if I actually open the drop down now, we have 0. 0 signifies no children from 1 to 5, or if we have more numbers, then it will definitely be those customers that actually, with children, right? So that is it. So you need to actually take note of this particular column because we are going to be using it. Okay, remember in our fact table here, which is the transactional table, we have a key that is used to connect to that of the customer table. So there are so many ways to actually run this calculation. I'm going to show you a few of them. So for the very first time, what you're going to do right now is to make sure you have this particular total revenue created. So from our previous class, we have done this, and I believe you must have known how to get it done by now. Okay, we're not going to use this particular all measure. Instead, we're going to use this particular customer measures right here. So inside the customer measures, what we need to do is to actually create a new measure over here. Actually, this is the previous measure we've created in the first video. Okay, we have this measure here. The very first thing we're going to do is to actually calculate customer with children. So I'm going to type in here customer with children CWC. We can leave that as a shortcut. Revenue is what we're going to type here to tell people what this is all about. So you put your equal sign here. So when you use a shortcut or you actually abbreviate what the measure name should be, the next thing you have to do is to actually leave a comment to tell people what this measure is all about. So over here, I'm going to type this calculate total revenue from customer with children. So I'm gonna just, yeah, sure, this is it, exactly what it is. So this is what you can do to actually, make people understand what is going on with your calculation. You get that? So this particular comment here will not be added or will not show up, will not even interfere at all. So shift enter in the new line right now, we can start doing this. So the very first thing I'm gonna do right here is to actually know the total numbers of customers with children. So to do that, now we can actually say variable over here. I'm a fan of variable a lot, so I love using variable. So what I love to do when I'm using variable is to actually use underscore so that I can quickly identify my variables from the DAX function we have over here. So I'm gonna say customer. So you can type it with space, but when you want to have space in your variable, you must make sure you have underscore, otherwise it's not gonna work. But what I love to do is just type customer. I will do with children, so uppercase for the new world. So put my equals here, and now what I'm gonna do is to actually start in here the total customers with children. So to do that, we can use the filter function here. So inside the filter function, we want to reference the customer table. So here we have the customer table. So inside the customer table, that column I showed you that has the total children in the customer table is what we're gonna fill in for the filter expression, and that will just be total. When I type in total here, I have this total children. Then over here, I'm gonna do greater than 0. So any customer that actually has this number that is not 0 would fall under customer with children. So for now, let us return the total numbers of customers with children. So all I'm going to do is to actually click, just type in return. So what am I returning? I'm returning this particular customer with children, and we can now see how many customers we have that actually. Oh, okay, fine. So now you can actually quickly format. Okay, let's see what we have. All right, so now the thing is this: if you look at this, something happened. Let's see what happened here. What happened is this: the expression refers to multiple columns. Multiple columns cannot be converted to a scalar value. So it's actually trying to tell us that what we have just done right now is actually, a table, not a scalar value. It cannot be displayed inside a card or any other visual. So can we prove this right to see what this is all about? So I'm gonna actually have to copy everything from here for now. Then I'll come to this particular table view here. Then from table view, I'll go to my table tools here, and I'll create a new table. So when I create a new table, what I'm gonna do with that table right now is to paste in this code. So it's coming up. So I'm gonna paste in this code here. So for now, I wouldn't keep this particular part. I want to just say test. So equals here. So my table name is test. So make sure you step out. Then you can hit enter. So what we're gonna see right now is gonna be a table that actually has all the customer. So now here we go. We have this table. This table would contain customer that actually will start from 1 and end in the max value. So it has excluded 0 for us. So this is what it returned. So how can we actually use this to calculate the total revenue? That is what it is. So we have a new table created right now. So this one here is just for me to display and tell you how it looks like in the real life, but we're not going to use this particular physical table we have right here. So let's get down to this particular part, and now we just click on this here. So we try to return. We can do now. I return this. It doesn't really give me that particular opportunity to return the total customers that are some kind of attributed to customers with children. So what you can do if you want to return it to the customers is to actually use the count rows, wrap this up with the count rows. So here is my count rows over here. Then with my count rows, so just make sure you do this. And once you hit your enter key, this would now allow you to do that, because that table, that physical table we've just seen previously, is now going to be some kind of counted using the count rows. So the error has just cleared. You get it? So we can now display this on a card to see how many customers are some kind of customers with children. So here we have 13,000 customers. Or actually, we don't have any measure that calculates the total numbers of customers for us. So we can quickly do that for now using the new measure right here. So what we can do now is to count and look at how many customers do we actually have. So I'm going to use the hashtag here. So type in customer in customers, and I do my distinct count. I'm not doing the count row to count the customer table, because there might be some customers in the customer table that does not have purchase history with us. So for that, don't do it. So instead, count how many customer keys you have in the transactional table or the fact table. So here I'm going to type fact table. Then I go for the customer key, close, and hit your enter key. This is exactly what you should do. So let's just find out how many customers do we have before we have this particular one here, 13,000. Okay, I'm going to push that into a different card, and let's just look at it. So we should have 18,000. So we have 18,000 customers. So out of 18,000 customers, 13,000 of those customers are actually customers with children. All right, everybody. This is not what we are interested in, but we have just displayed the numbers of customers. What we are interested in actually is for we to calculate the total revenue we have made from those customers, not how many are there. To do that now, we can click on the measure and have it edited. So over here, instead of us to be doing count rows under the return, I can actually click this off. We don't need this right now. So we can do calculate using the calculate function. Now for calculate, we are going to actually reference our previous measure, which is total revenue right here. So when I hit my comma, it's going to be asking me for the filter. So for the filter right now, we are going to use that particular customer with children we have here. You get that? Then if I hit my shift key and close this for now, I can actually go ahead and return this. Okay, it has already been returned. If I hit my enter right now, watch what we have here. It's not going to be numbers of customer any longer. It will be the total revenue we've made from our customers. Do you see that now? Beautiful. So this is very straightforward. In case it's some kind of complicated, you might want to use a different method to calculate it. So all I'm going to do is to copy this particular top here. Then I'm going to actually enter a new measure. So this measure will definitely help us to calculate it in more shorter way than this one here. I paste this here. I'm going to put this as say number two here. So what I'm going to do now is just shift enter to go into the next line. So I don't need a variable here. We can actually use the sum x. Using the sum x, what we're going to do, we need a table for the sum x. So for the table right now, we are going to filter the fact table and actually use the related table, which is the customer table. That is what we're going to do. So I'm going to actually say my filter function here, call it. Inside the filter function, what do we want to filter? We want to filter the fact table. So to filter this fact table, I showed you a key that is connected to the customer table. So what you're going to do right now is just for you to actually use a function called related. So this related is going to actually find a matching key in the transactional table or fact table inside the customer table and return only those customers that is actually greater than 0. So now for the related table, I will type total children. That is our customer table. then where it is greater than 0. And once you have done that, you can do shift and close this. Okay, fine. We are supposed to close our related table before we do greater than, so that error will be gone. So once we have done that, we can actually say comma, and it's asking us for expression. Now, our expression now would be our total revenue here. That is all we need to do. We just have to close for our sum x, and once we hit the enter key, this would definitely create the same thing just like the previous one. Okay, once we have done this, let us find out. I'm gonna push it in here, and it's gonna use multi-row cal to actually get that for us. So you can see right now, we have the same exact value right here, no difference. Let me just make sure I crank the value up a little bit. So I'm going to do 20. Then you can see we have the same exact value, no difference. So before we proceed to our main job today, let us finally look at the last one that is even more direct to what we want, that will still return the same thing. Then it will actually open your mind to the world of DAX, how you can actually use it to manipulate data. Okay, for the last one here, I'm going to click on this. Then I paste in the header. So we're calculating for the third one now. So I put 3 here. So this one here, we can directly use the calculate function to do it. So using the calculate function. So for the calculate function, we say we want to actually use this expression called total revenue, then comma. So for the filter aspect here, so what we're going to do is to use the filter function. It's related to the previous one, and we filter now. We are not filtering the fact table. Instead, we are actually filtering the dimensional table. So the related function we used, we're not going to use it right here, is some kind of indirectly going to be possible because we already have a relationship in our module. So we just use the total children where it is actually greater than 0. And if I close and hit my enter key, or I'm supposed to close for my calculator, I've not done that. Let's see if the system automatically do that for us. So the system did, but I don't like the formatting, so I can always format it the way I like. So this is what it is. We have just done the same thing in 3 different ways, and I believe you must have picked one that is best suited for you, right? So here we go. We have the same thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our aim is not just to calculate those numbers. What we are interested in is actually creating a percentage of customers with children and customers without children. But before we create that, what I'm going to do right now for this particular one right here, I would like to actually turn it into customer without children. So what I'm going to do right here, I can just come here, customer without children. So for customer without children, we can just come here and modify this. Instead of we to say greater than 0, it's going to be equals to 0. And this will return the total numbers of customers without children for us. So let's see. It's getting that. Now we have it right here. You can see the value is different, right? So what we can do is to make sure we use the number formatting right here to format our values. So I'm going to use the $number formatting to do that. So you can do that with this particular one as well. That formats it for you the way it should be. Okay, now that we have just gotten this calculated, we need to actually create the percentage, right? So to create a percentage, we can actually create a new measure. And for we to create a percentage is very simple. It's not something complicated at all. So let us actually create a percentage for customer with children. So I'm going to say customer with children, that is CWC. So let's use percentage, customer with children. So equals, and we use the divide function here. So inside the divide function, what we're going to reference is actually our customer with children revenue. this one over here, then comma. So we divide that by our total revenue. That gives us the percentage of customer with children. That's just it. So maybe you want to be some kind of smart about this. All you just have to do is just to copy this very one. Make sure you convert this to a percentage is something you really have to do. So convert this to a percentage by clicking on this particular percentage number formatting right here. Okay, next is for we to actually add a new measure. That measure calculates for us the customers without children. So I'm going to paste this particular one in here. So paste it in, and we change the measure name. So to customer without children. Then over here is this one I'm going to change. So we are looking for customer without children. Here we go. Then this would definitely calculate for us the percentage. So we're done with this. The next thing is for we to create our chart the way we saw it in the previous one I showed you before we get started. I'm talking about this one right here. So remember, we have two different, part of it. So we have the dark part of it. So let us look at the dark part. So this is exactly what it is. So you can make a choice on which one you really want, but I'm going to show you how to create both of them. So if you have not liked, just hit the like button right now, because it will definitely help this channel, and leave a comment. Let me know what you feel about my contents. So make sure you share, subscribe, and let's go. So now we're going to create this particular chart right here and have those percentages right in there. So let's do it. Okay. We don't actually need this particular one here. All I'm going to do is to click on it and have it removed. So we don't need the total customer either for now. Then what I'm going to do is to select this particular chart we have right here, the donut chart. So once I have the donut chart selected, we can just some kind of maximize it. So I'm going to come over to where I have calculated my customer with children and without children. And I would love to select the percentages. So let's go ahead. We have percentage of customer without children, and we have percentage of customer with children. So once we have gotten this done, I would love to some kind of remove my legend, remove my title, and remove this particular label from here. I don't want it. So let us click on this particular size here. So we're going to do 152. That is 152. So we're going to do that by 191. That gives us this particular size. So the next thing is for we to actually reduce the size of our main chart. So we have to scroll all the way down. So let us click on slides here. Then we scroll down. Then over here you see inner radius. So you can actually increase it, or you can actually decrease it. So I want something as thin as this. I don't want something that huge. So we're going to go with something like this. So we can now position it right here now. So we've positioned it right here. So we can adjust things around after all. So once we have done that, we can go ahead and actually copy and paste it. Then we move one of it down. So let's keep this one over here. Right, we have two of those charts right now. So what I'm going to do is for we to actually be very consistent with our colors. So for now, I'm going to use this or the color we've used previously, which is this particular color right here. So what I'm going to do, in case I can't remember the color, I will definitely click here, and I'll go to my column here. Then scroll down a little bit. You find this particular FX is actually the conditional formatting part. So you can come here and pick it up. So if you have created this with me from the scratch, so if you want to use your color, you are free to do that. So you are not actually under compulsion to use the same color with me. So I would like to use the color over here. Select this one, and for this particular part, this is the part where we have the customer not with children, the percentage. So I will select this one here and come right here, paste in the color I've just copied. So now we have it. So for this color, I would love to use this very one here that corresponds to this particular one. So for now, this color needs to be some kind of change as well. So first of all, what I would love to do for this particular percentage of customer with children, I would love to use the same color I have used here. Then for the next one, click on it. Let's go with something like this. Do you see that? This is what it is that we can use. Okay, we're not really done. The next thing is for we to bring in the percentage of customer without children first. So once you click on it, that gives you the percentage of customer without children. So we have to format it as a percentage. So we go over here and we do that. So I wouldn't like to have the two decimal places. So turn this particular 2 over here to 0. That would remove the decimal places for you. All right, there you go. So if I bring this in now, it covers everything. So the first thing I'm going to do is to come over here and take off the background. Then I close this. Then I don't want to see this particular category label. I turn it off. Then we come over to here now. I'm going to select a font that will be bold. So let's open it up. So scroll down a little bit. Now you select this particular one here. So it looks more okay, right? Let's go with 30. That will be fine. This is what it is. So we can reduce it to make sure it fits in the middle of this, like this. Okay, I would love to use the same color I used for my chart, and that is going to be this very color here. Then once I'm done with that, I can actually copy and just paste it down, move the copied one down to this particular part here. Then once we have it, so all we have to do is to change from customer without children to customer with children, 71%. That is great. Then quickly we match the color with the chart. This is what it is that we have. So can you see this now? But right now it's not really making sense a lot. So we want to make sure this actually tells more story than it does right now. So what is the first thing we're going to do? We are going to actually create a caption, or should I call it caption, or give more context to the chart, right? Then first of all, let's just copy this very one from here. So when we copy and change, we need to actually tell what this is for. So this is going to be my customer without children. So we can actually highlight part of it to change the color we have, just to make sure we beautify our dashboard. So I'm going to use something like this. Then I select over here and do the same thing to it. So I can do this. So I would love to select something that is not that dark. Let's go with this one. Then over here, I'm going to match this particular color to my color, which is this very one here. Okay, then this color is too dark. We just need to select it and change it to something like this. Okay, this is what we have. So we can now see that we have customer without children and customer with children, and we have the percentages, that is associated to every single one of them. So adding more context to this right now would actually make it look much more better. So on the screen is actually what we are trying to achieve, but how do we actually achieve this? Let's find out. Okay, in our customer measures, we are going to actually create a new measure right now, right in it. Let us call this one customers without children. So I will use let's use caption here. Right, so it's left to you how you want to name it, but this is what I want to name mine. Okay, the very first thing I'm going to do is to some kind of actually calculate the total country. So we want to calculate the total countries. So to do that right now, we need to store that inside a variable. So we create a variable over here. So this variable will be underscore numbers of countries. So for numbers of countries, what we're going to do is for we to use distinct count again. So the distinct count will go into the demographic table and count how many countries we have right there, because we have lots of duplicate. We just want to see the unique countries, right? So we are going to come over here, and when you type in country, you have this, and you go with this. That gives you the numbers of countries we have. All right, the next one is for we to create that variable. So I'll leave a comment here as well. So adding comments to, if you know you're going to write a little bit complicated measure or variable, you can actually comment every single variable out to tell people, or to make sure anybody who comes to the back end of your code would understand what that particular part of the measure is doing. So right now we want to extract the top country with more customers without children. So to do that, now we have to create a variable here. So underscore country top, we can use top country here. So using top country, what I'm going to do right now is just to actually use the top end function. So the top end function will do the magic for me. So we want to tell top end to extract only one country based on what we're going to supply to it. So when we say top one, which means we want to return the top one. So here we're going to use the distinct function. So the distinct function here, what it's going to do is to actually go into the country, table. So the column here. So we close this and we'll click, it's a comma. So it's asking for how do you want to order this. If you want to return from the main or from the max, that is what it is. So we want to do this by customer without children measure that we have. So customer without children, that is it. The revenue is what we're going to use. So we are trying to return just doing it by ascending. So it's going to extract the top one that has the highest, revenue, right? So and that thing is this. If I actually put a comma, it's asking me to order by expression 2. What is that for? So let's write it first. So we're going to say our country here, and we do this by ascending. So why are we doing this by ascending when we have already sorted our customer without children revenue by descending? This is what it is. In case we have two customers with the same value, so we want to return one of those particular, two countries or multiple countries with the same values. We want to return one single country. And what the system is going to do is to actually use this particular part of our DAX code to sort it by country this time around, not by the numbers or by values or by revenue. It's going to sort by country from A to Z and return the top one. You get that now? That is what it is. Okay, we have gotten this done. You might want to take a look at what you have done right here. What country does it return for us? That is one thing we have to do. As we keep going, let us start returning our variables to see what it displays. So type in return. So under your return here, we want to return underscore top country. So if I hit my enter key, this will definitely return for me the top one country that actually has more numbers of customers with children. So let's go ahead and push this into a card to see. So can you see now we have Australia? This is exactly what I want you to understand. That is what the part of the measure is actually doing. All right, so we don't actually need to return for now. Let's see what will be next. So next right now is for we to calculate the total customers we have from the top country with the highest numbers of customers without children. So to do that is not something very complicated. All we have to do is to actually create a variable over here, and inside the variable we were going to name it total customers. Then from top country, we just put top country right here. So we're going to do what? We're going to do calculate function. So using the calculate function now, what we're going to do, we are going to actually create use a distinct key over our customer key from our fact table. So we count using distinct count rather, that is the function, distinct count. So the distinct count is going to go to the fact table and count the customer keys from a fact table. So when we close that, then we place our comma. Is actually going to ask us for filter. So right now what we're going to do, we are going to filter by the variable numbers at the top country, not number of countries, the top country we've created, which is Australia. So with this now, we can now see, how many customers we have from this area. So quickly you can return this. So when you return this, you are going to return the top customers, total customers, top country. So if I hit my enter key, that particular value we have during the time that is actually, country will now become number. That is what it is. So let me reduce this and show you. So now we have 3,591 customers from Australia. That is exactly what it is. Okay, let's continue. The next one now, I'm going to take this off. Because we want to actually create the revenue, the percentage attributed to the top country with customer without children. So what we're going to do right now is to actually use this particular next variable to remove filter from the country column. You get that? So let's find out. Here, this is what we're going to do. So we create a variable over here and we name the variable to be all. It's going to be all. Sorry, I mistakenly hit the enter key and it's going to give us an error, but don't worry about that. It will be cleared once we're done. So no issues with the error. So I'm going to type in here all customer without children equals. So what I'm going to do right now is to use the calculate function over here. So using the calculate function, we are going to actually say customer without children. So what we need to do, we're going to say, okay, you know what? I always want you to do this over the top country. And what that is going to be like is to use underscore top country here. Then if I actually hit my comma again, it's asking for the second filter. So the first filter to filter our customer without children revenue now is limited to just that one country we have selected. And the second filter right now is that we want to remove filter from the country table so that we can use it to create our percentage. So we do this. So we're going to use the all function to do that. With the all function now, we can actually go to the country table. So which is here, and the column country. So we close this and finally we close for our calculate. So can you see that? Now we have just taken our filter. It will be not different from what we have calculated previously before now. So we don't need to display this. So the next thing again is to create that variable, and let's see what the variable is all about. So this new variable is going to calculate the total revenue from top country. That is the total revenue from top country. Our top country without any other filter is actually, think Australia. So right now we want to calculate how much revenue have we made from those customers that are without children right in that particular country. So let's do it. Now we just type in here the variable function, or the variable name will be underscore. Let us name this total revenue. So we can identify what we are calculating this total revenue for. I can put my top country here. So top country. So with my equal sign, what I'm going to do is to use the calculate function as well. Very simple. We do that for customer without children, and comma. We always say, okay, you know what? Filter this down to our top country, and that will calculate for just the top country. So try to do this and display it on your card and see what is going to give to you. Is going to reduce the total revenue we have calculated previously and limit it to that of the top country, which is Australia, just one single country we have in selection. So we're trying to create a percentage of that is attributed to those customers without children. So what we can do now is to actually use the divide function by creating a variable over here. And this variable, we're going to call it PCT. PCT for percentage. You can always look for something that is very unique to, map out your variable. So PCT customer without children. So if I put my equals here, I'm going to use the divide function. So for the divide function, for a not data, we're going to use the total. That is a total revenue. Is going to be a percentage. So we're going to do underscore total revenue top country. So total revenue from the top country is what we're going to use to actually create these. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to actually place a comma for the denominator right here. We're going to use the calculate function because we have to remove filter from the country table. Then we do that. We come here and use the calculate function, and we're going to say, okay, you know what? You're going to calculate for me the total here, total revenue from, I think that is going to be, no, we need to use our measure. So this measure is going to be customer without children revenue that we've calculated as a. So once we have done that, we're going to take this. We're going to take this here. So once we've done that, what we're going to do right now is for we to say, you know what? We want you to remove filter so that we can actually create our percentage. So remove filter from the country in the demographic. So here we go. We can close, and finally we close for calculate, then close for the you closing for our divide function, and this will definitely create the percentage for us. In case you want to be certain what this is going to look like, you can always return to see what the result is like. So we can do return, and with the return over here, we want to return our last variable, which is percentage. So once we hit our enter key right now, we can always format this to look like a percentage. We should see something like 40 something percent attributed to this particular top country. So let's take a look at it. So here we have 44.2% that is attributed to the top country, which is Australia. If I still remember which country has the highest customers without children, this is what it is that you need to know. Okay, we've just displayed that. We still have more to create. So because we want to show the male customers without children and the female customers without children, and what we are interested in is to show the percentages, what we're going to do right now is to first of all extract male customer without children revenue. So what we're going to do on that, we actually have to type in here variable. So with our variable, we're going to name it underscore male customer. So okay, can we use male gender? So let us use male gender without children. So male gender without children, what we're going to do right now is to simply use the calculate function And over here, we use customer without children measure. So we filter just the top country is what we're going to get for. So top country, that is our first filter. And the second filter right now, you need to know how your mail column is being formatted. So your mail column might be formatted this way. Like you might have in the column where you have your gender right in, you might have the male to be like this, or you have the male to be like this and the female to be just off. So you need to understand between this, and this, which one it is. So ours is just using the M for male and our F for female. So let's get on it. So over here, so the second filter will now be gender. When I type in my gender, that comes from my customer table. I want to say now where the gender is equals inside of quotation M for male, then we can go ahead and close our calculate function. This actually does calculate the total revenue coming from male gender without children for us. So once we have just gotten this done, the next thing right now is to actually create a percentage for this. So all I'm going to do is to just copy this particular part here at the top level. I'm going to paste it down over here. So let's do this. When you paste it down, extract the male, the percentage. Here I'm going to put percentage here. So here underscore PCT for my percentage. Then what I'm going to do that now is to use the divide function to get this done. So the divide function is going to divide my male, so which is our variable male gender here. So we're going to do that by our all customer with children. So here we go, all customer with children. You remember when we created this one, so we are reusing that particular variable right now. So all customer with children, and this will definitely create for us our percentage of male gender. So we're going to create for female. Do you know you don't have to some kind of do this all over again? All you have to do is to be very careful while you copy this. I copy this particular part. So all I need to do right now is to hit my shift enter twice, like or thrice. So and paste it down right here. So here, instead of we use a male, I'm going to use the female gender here. So female customer. So over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I want to do female customer as well. So over on the variable, we type in female instead of male. So female. Then for this particular part, all we have to change is just to change this one to F. That is for female. Then for the percentage, we calculate percentage for female, not for male. Now that is all about that. Then for our variable here, this particular one, we are not using this variable any longer because this one is attributed to just the male gender. So we're going to remove it and use the female one, which is this particular one right here. And that is all we have to do to have this particular variable updated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with this now, we have just created all we have to create before we can actually set for our caption or to use it to add more context to portray our chart. So what do we do next? We have to return. On the screen are the list of all the variables we have created, and look at how we're going to use all those variables inside the return part for it to return some string that will definitely add more context to our chart. Let's find out. All right, quickly go beneath here. So now we're going to type in return. So under the return, this is what we're going to do. So first of all, we're going to actually say country. Look at your screen to see what exactly we are trying to achieve on the screen. That is exactly the text we have right there, or the caption, or the commentary we want to add to see how we can add this. So first of all, I want to select my top country is a variable, and this top country has one single country installed inside it. You get it now. So once I have this now, I want to concatenate some text with it. So I'm going to use my and symbol here. So we actually put in double quotation so that we can type in the text and concatenate it with whatever country that would be. Then I'm going to actually do a tab to shift so that it will not be joined together. So I'm going to say leads with, then have to close this and use under and to join under text or under variable with it. So now I want to properly indent this. What I'm going to do right now is to some kind of, okay, let's see what we're doing right here very well. So I'm going to step down. So over here, start again. So now we're going to reference our percentage. That is the percentage of what? The percentage of customer with children. So we locate it. So this is the percentage of customer with children. So when we actually get that, this percentage is not going to be formatted as a percentage. It's going to be some kind of huge number. But I want you to see that before I definitely come back here and format it the way it should be. So when we have this in, we are going to actually concatenate under text here. And the text is going to be of customers without children among. Now this among, now we want to reference how many countries we have. Then under one here, shift enter to go into the next line. Then we are going to reference, which is this one right here. Then we join under text with it, countries. So comma, generating, close the ampersand again. Then we step into the next line. So this time around, we want to show how much revenue we have generated. So we have a measure that actually, give us that total revenue, top country, or total revenue. They give it the same thing. So once we have this right here, we need to actually concatenate another text with it, and that will just gonna be in revenue. So whatever the figure is in revenue, then from, so under concatenation again, then with the shift enter. So this time around, we want to actually show the total customers, how many customers those particular revenue are being generated from. So we just say top country. No, top country, that is here. We have that. Yes, of course we have it. That is total customers top country here. Then we use the total customers top country. So we just do under concatenator again. Then over here, so we're going to type in customers, comprising. So we step into a new line. Now we need to reference our percentage of male. So comprising whatever percentage is it that we have. So let us first of all do PCT, then we do for the male gender. So we concatenate this, which is going to be male, and we do this again, underscore PCT, then this time around for female. Then that is actually our last variable that we are going to actually use right now. Then we have to make sure we do this female. Then we just go ahead and close this. So we are done with this. I'm going to hit my enter key to see if this is okay. So we want to see what result we're going to have before we decide to come back here and have it formatted. So over here, I'm going to click. So look at what we have. So if I expand this now, you can see we have something a little bit weird. So it's not some kind of readable. All the numbers are huge, so we can't read nothing. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to look at how we're going to format these to look nicely. So if I click on my measure here, and I'm trying to format it using this particular formatting, it's not really possible. So we have to format it with some dark code. So let's come over here and scroll all the way down. So while we are here, the very first thing we're going to do is that for our percentage here, I just need to format it. So you have to use the format function. So with the format function, it's looking for value. Our value is going to be our underscore percentage customer without children here. Then I place my comma here. It's asking me for the format. How do I want to format this? So to format it, inside double quotation, you can type 0.00, which means you want to have 2 decimal places, right? So you close the double quotation and you close this. That will definitely do the justification for you. Then for numbers of countries right here, in case we have it in thousand, what we're going to do is set similar format again. So over here, we do this format and we come down to this particular end of it. We place a comma there. It's asking us for how we want to format it. So this time around, this is not a percentage. We can't do what we've done previously, but we can just do hash, comma, inside of quotation, hash, the comma, and 2 hashes. You close and you have this close. That would give you exactly what you need. So this one will be a little bit different because this is actually value or currency, whatever you want to call it. So we do format again. So we need to actually add either pounds, dollar, naira, Ghana city, whatever currency formatting you want to use. So over here, place my comma. Then I do dollar first, dollar symbol. Then I do my hash. I do comma, 2 hashes, close, and that you have this closed. Then total customers, in case we have our total customers to be in thousand, we want to have a precaution. So we just want to quickly format it, which I knew is not really much, but I think our customer is like 18,000. So we really have to do that. So we have done this. We have 2 percentages we need to format. So the same thing, we write a format here. That was why I indented my code for it to be very easy and swift to do. So you can see it's well arranged. So over here, I'm going to do 0.00. Oh, I need to add a percentage. That is what I've forgotten in the first one. So come to the first one right here and make sure you have a percentage symbol right in. Then for the final part here is going to be in that format again. So we come right at the end, comma, inside of a quotation, 0.00%. So we close and we hit our enter key to actually look at what it is that we have done and how this has actually transformed our caption. So let us take a look at it. So right now it makes more sense like more than the previous one. It says Australia leads with 44.02% of customers without children among 6 countries, generating 39 million plus in revenue from 3,591 customers, comprising of 49% male and 50% female. You look at that. Right. What if I want to show my country here in uppercase? Like I want to put it in uppercase. How do I do that? Let's go back and actually just add another way to do that. So over here, you can use it, the upper function. The upper function capitalize this particular word for you. So you just enclose it. You hit the enter key. So right now you have that country name in uppercase. So let's see. This is what it is. So can you see this now? This is all you need to do. So if you're still watching, you need to just, stay with me. Let me show you how to actually duplicate this without you trying to some kind of do this again all over for customer with children. So we have done this for customer without children. So we need to do this for customer with children. How do we do that? So for the first time, I'm going to come over to my format. So I'll turn off the background out of this. I don't want background for it. Then the next thing I'm going to do for this, I will definitely put it on 12. That is great. Then once I've done that, in case you have this turned off, you need to turn it on so that you can actually have your text some kind of fit into the card. So once I've done that, I'm going to come right here and turn this off. I don't need that. So we can now resize this So resize it, do this again. I have this resized. I'll place it right here. So you can just adjust it to actually meet what you are looking forward to seeing. So here we go. We have something like this. So if I actually have this duplicated and copy it down, so we have that one right here. So we have two of these. So one for customer with children and one for customer without children. So this customer with children is not correct. We need to change it. So what we're going to do right now is to click on the measure. We are doing this with ease. We don't have to write this again. We just copy and make a little change to this. So create a new measure right now, paste it in and just make that changes. Then you have it all. So you go ahead and actually highlight what you have in here and paste in the one you have copied. So we've just pasted this one in here. So the very first thing I'm going to actually do right now is to replace this with customer, caption customer without children. So I'm going to put without here. So without children here. So the next thing, this one is correct. So where we have this particular measure right in. So if I click on it right now, so go ahead and highlight this particular, measure. This is the key measure that you need to change. So once you have done that, hold your Control key and the Shift key, then click on the L key. That is the shortcut. So what do? You have to type in customer without children. So here you need to know the name of the measure and type it in the way it should be. So I'm going to type in this, or you have to delete it first. So let us Ctrl Z to bring it back. So we have it back right now, right? So first of all, understand that this is what you want, which is CWC, customer with children revenue. So you can actually highlight. So Ctrl Z, sorry for that. So you can highlight this particular variable. What did we do? We mistakenly reject that measure. We need to do that again. Sorry for that. So we have to insert a new measure now to paste in. I click on my escape key and it's got deleted. So now we have it again. So we quickly go up here. So remember, is CWC revenue. So make sure you type in the correct one. So we are replacing it with this one here. So once you have this highlighted, Control Shift L. So we have highlighted it. If I actually start scrolling down now, you see anywhere we have it, it will highlight it for us. So what if I click on my spacebar and I have my cursor blinking at those places where we have it right in? All I have to do now is to actually open my square bracket. Then inside my square bracket, I type in W or CWC, with space I type in revenue. So make sure it's correct, because if it is not correct, it's going to be a problem. Then you close it. So we have just actually created for this. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go ahead and actually update my measure to customer without children. Here we go. If I hit my enter right now, I have the second version of this. Okay, next right now, let's some kind of step out. Here is customer with children, correct? For customer without children, if I click on this, I'm going to have it. So I'll take this off and I'll replace it with this particular one right here. As you can see, we have this to be some kind of, so this is 35.68% and this is 44.2%, which means we have gotten it right, not difference. We have exactly what it is that we need. So if you want to change any other part of this particular measure, what you could do is to actually click on it. So the only problem we might be having right now, it will be on the measure names. We might want to actually replace where we have customer with children, without children, in to be customer with children, right? So like this one right now, all I'm going to do is to actually update this particular one, Control Shift L. So anywhere we have it, I want to track it. So you can see we have more of it right here. And what I'm going to do is to actually remove it and replace it with customer with children. So that is all you have to do, but I don't have to do right now on the screen. So I think I've just shown you enough of what you need to know to actually create something as powerful as this. So go ahead and take a look at what we have done and look at how you can actually replicate the same thing. When we come back in the next video, we are going to create our dashboard in Fullest. So just like what we have right here on the dark part of it, and as well what we actually have on the light report. So it depends on which color you really want to use, but this is something amazing that you need to know about. So right now I want to say thank you very much for watching. So if you have not hit the subscribe button, this is the best time to do that, and your comment is always something that motivates me to get into action every single time to create more dashboard or more report for you guys. So always leave a comment. It's a sign of appreciation, and it actually help with the algorithm to push this to more people. So thanks for watching, stay blessed, and I love you guys.